When I got into digital audio production many moons ago, I used to hate the word warmth. I thought it was a cross between being pretentious and ignorant. In my early days, I'd mocked people who said, "Make it sound warmer." What the hell does that even mean? Seems like pseudoscience. Back then, I couldn't understand why anyone would prefer the sound of vinyl over CDs. CDs gave you that true sound, right? Crystal clear. Every note exactly as it was meant to be heard. Vinyl, dusty, massive, temperamental. And I accept I truly missed the mark on that one in hindsight. Now older, and hopefully wiser, I get it. Part of me craves the nostalgia, and while it's tempting to just slap on rose-tinted glasses, looking at it holistically, I can see why we like to filter sound through the prism of warmth. But there's no denying it. Warmth exists. In my opinion, it's partly perception, partly aesthetic, and partly technique. We love hearing our music on analog formats. In music production, we often use tape saturation, vintage plugins, and maybe even real hardware. But here's the thing, even if you use vintage ribbon microphones, telephone cables, valves, tape, and release on cassette, you can't truly recreate it. The warmth is a product of its time. It's the soul of the musicians, the air they breathed, the food they ate. Every tiny element, a butterfly effect contributing to the sound. One example that comes to mind is the controversial and legendary engineer Joe Meek, for instance. After leaving the Lab Coat Studios, he set up one of the first bedroom studios, recording bands in his flat. So many environmental factors, so many mistakes created nuances that can never be replicated. The same could be said for other producers and engineers of the age, such as George Martin and Phil Spector, to name a few. But in the world of post-production, at least where I come from, warmth isn't a priority. Mixing for TV can be seen as a bit of a sausage factory. Tools like Pro Tools were embraced for good reasons. Deadlines, reversions, and the need for precision make analog warmth impractical. Artistic expression is often secondary. The work is surgical rather than creative. Track lay, edit, mix, review, on to the next project. But then I moved into working more on feature films, where deadlines are longer and there's a little more room to play. In one instance, I got one chance to experiment with warmth, and it was refreshing. I mixed a film recently, and during production it was decided to make it black and white. That got me thinking. How do I make the sound black and white? I wasn't renting a Neve desk or any vintage hardware. I was on my Pro Tools setup as always. But I did have fun. Plate reverbs, old tape delays, virtual valve compressors, carefully chosen sound effects and Foley. I tried to give the sound an eerie, vintage character. And then there was my Pro Tools mixer, with a simple feature called Heat. 2 knobs, just enough to slightly mess with the virtual circuitry. I combined that with a tape saturator and SSL compressor on the master bus, and tweaked throughout the mixing process. Crystal clear digital sound transformed into a gooey, warm soundtrack that complemented the black and white visuals. It was a rare chance to do with something I don't get much time to do in mixing, and I'll admit, a trick or two from that main project still lives on my main mix bus now. If you'd like more audio insights and tips, subscribe to the channel, and check out my Substack or visit my website, links in the video description. Thanks for checking out, and see you next time.